What is up, YouTube? So today I decided, since I use a boosted board to get around pretty much in my everyday life, I'm going to do my dual boosted board review. So I have owned my first gen boosted single drive board for the past 3 years. Owning a boosted board. The reason I got it is to get from A to B. When I first moved here 7 years ago, I was using a normal skateboard. Now, a normal kickfoot skateboard, they're great. I grew up riding them. They're fun for kickfooting and like doing tricks, but they're not practical when you have a full-time job and you're trying to get from A to B. Kickfooting will make you sweat your ass off, and depending on what job you have, you cannot show up just sweating. It's disgusting. I looked into boosted boards. I was using Lyft, Uber. I was doing, Muni, BART, F-Train. It all depends on how you get around in the city. Now, a typical person would ride a bicycle in a city like this. New York, San Francisco, big bike cities. Great. Problem with bikes. 1, they get parted out. 2, there's skeletons remaining. 3, look back to number 1. The thing with a boosted board is they're small. You can take them in pretty much everywhere that you want to. You can take them into the gym. Most gyms will just leave them behind the front desk, they'll watch them, or they will also put them, like the lockers are big enough that you can fit them inside the locker. The other great thing is, you do not have to ever worry about it being parted out. I mean, really, who's going to try to part out a boosted board? And who even has the tools to part out a skateboard anyway? Boosted boards are not a toy. Disclaimer, not a toy. I treat mine like a toy because I've been riding for so many years, but you can easily die on one of these boards. Not saying it's going to be your fault, it's usually a driver's fault, or someone not paying attention, or texting and driving, or taking a right and not paying attention to who's on the bike lane. It happens. So wear protective gear. When I got the board, I used a knife to cut open the box. I set the knife on this futon right here, okay? This is my closet. I was coming along the next day. I used to have a fan that would set here, and it would just blow onto my bed, which is right behind this camera. Now, the thing was, it vibrated overnight, and the knife fell off. Next day, my foot found that knife. And as you can see here, that's me in the ambulance, all doped up on morphine after the ambulance came to get me, after I went into shock, and completely lost my shit. It's ironic because that knife that opened my boosted board actually kept me riding it for 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, I got to ride the thing for the first time. Now, I've grown up skateboarding, I've gotten to surf since I've moved out to California, and snowboarding's fun when I was growing up as well. With the boosted board, it's almost like mixing all three together. Now, when you surf and you fall, you just hope you don't drown, basically. It does hurt. The waves can be kind of intimidating, especially if you're claustrophobic and you get all discombobulated underwater. Snowboarding, the first time I fell snowboarding, I thought it'd be fine. It's snow, how hard can it be? And then I started skateboarding when I was in junior high with one of my friends back at the time. Once I got the board, I decided to see how long it would take to pay off the board, or how long it would take the board to actually pay itself off from all the traveling that I did around the city. It took, with my Gen 1, about 3.5 months for that thing to pay itself off completely, which is amazing. To get into the boards, the main thing is, with the Gen 1, I only had the single drive, okay? So I'm going to show you the main differences between the two. First off, the trucks are just built way better. You can even feel it. The trucks seem so much more sturdy than the Gen 2. Also, the battery here, unfortunately, it doesn't have a LED indicator. It doesn't tell you where on the battery it is on the charge. So you can't tell just by looking at the board, unfortunately, on this one. Also, with the Gen 1, this right here, this skid plate, is metal. This also, the motor hub, is also 3 prongs. It has 3 holes instead of 2, which, I mean, that's not bad. Not really a big change into the Gen 2. Also, these are only 70mm wheels right here. It's also belt driven, as you can see. The other thing is the wires. I don't know if you can tell, but the wire system right here, it's just kind of loose, you know. All right, and that's the Gen 1. single drive. This board has taken me probably 3,000 to 4,000 miles, maybe 5, I'm not sure. I still don't have the Android app to check it, so I need someone with an iPhone to let me check it sometimes so I can read the odometer. This thing will go about 8 miles on one charge if you're riding on flat land. It goes up about 10 to 12 degree grades. It'll get you most places in the city. 18 miles on the fast. On the intermediate, it's roughly around, I want to say 12 miles maybe. And then on the beginner level, or the bunny rabbit mode, or the turtle mode, it's basically, I believe, 8 miles. So it does have like a small learning curve. I would recommend that you learn how to ride a normal board first before even trying one of these, or at least learn how to stabilize, because your stabilizers in your legs are going to be shot when you first ride one of these. A Dual Plus Gen 2 or version 2, 75 millimeter wheels. You can also tell the difference because they're green. They have that little green inlining. The trucks, not the biggest fan. You can always swap out the trucks if you really know what you're doing. Front truck's not so bad. Rear trucks, you're going to have to do some modifications. Also, you have a little indicator light here that's not on the Gen 1. Kind of tells you where your battery is at. The Gen 2, if you can see this wiring right here, that's it. That's all that's running from the motors to the hookup back here and the port right here. It's so clean. The other thing is, they've made the skid plates now plastic. I get it. It makes the board a little lighter, but on the other hand, it also makes Boosted more money if they have to have people pay for new stuff. I understand. It's great marketing. Good for you, Boosted. Also, the back drives on these pull even harder. I've gotten to ride the Gen 1 Dual Plus. The Gen 2 Dual Plus pulls even harder. So if you already know what you're doing a little on a boosted board and you think you're okay, I still say that you need to practice when you switch from boards. I literally went from the base level Gen 1 to the most advanced level in the Gen 2. Okay? So this board, 4 miles an hour faster than my other board. Now, it also only goes about 6 to 7 miles in range. I weigh about 170, 175 pounds. It will go up almost every hill in the city, up anywhere from 20 to 25 degree grades. I have found a few hills, though, that it will not take me up. The other downside to Boosted, their extended range battery pack is not out yet, and it's driving a lot of owners nuts. I get it. They promised something that they kind of promised a little too much too early, so it's making everyone very anxious. Because other riders now, like the Evolve skateboarders, are going 3 times as far compared to us, and then we're constantly charging. But those are the main differences between the Gen 1 and the Gen 2. The other thing that I have noticed with the Gen 2 is there are no cutouts like on the Gen 1. The Gen 2, the Bluetooth connections, there's supposedly 2 of them now. So like places that people, especially like here in San Francisco that ride a lot, everyone will agree. Places like the intersection of Market and Van Ness is always a problem for the Gen 1s. Gen 2, I have not had one cutout yet, and I've been riding this for about 1,000 miles in the past 6 months. So between the 2 of these, I really haven't had any problems other than the fact of other people not paying attention and drivers hitting me. But so far, this has been my comprehensive review on the Boosted Gen 1s and the Boosted Gen 2. Now the price difference between the Gen 1 and the Gen 2, actually, I don't even think the Gen 1s are on the website anymore. I just checked. I think they took them down. But the Gen 1, I bought it base at about $1,000. The Gen 2, I bought it about $1,500, plus extended range battery, which brought it up to $1,700. If you don't like to see that much money come out of your bank account, I understand. You can always finance it through a firm, which is right there. They option, or give you that option to finance. It's kind of crazy that you're financing an actual skateboard. But if it's worth it and it helps you get from A to B and it helps you do what you need to do in your normal everyday life, then so be it. So this is vlog number 11, and this has been my dual boosted board review.